Warning, you are now entering a dangerous area.
Alright. Hello, people. I hope that that transition worked. It looks like it did. Judging by how did a bag just defeat me in combat?
That's not a bag, Missy. That's far older technology.
Let's see here. What was this? Ever free first. What do you call the people who made that?
Only at dawn. Granted, here's the thing. Their channel often re-uploads a lot of things.
Okay, yeah, it's same as the people that are on it. So I'm just gonna, I'm just trying to credit here. The people who made the sound that you just heard, the introduction on your little thing here.
It looks like it was made by those people featuring them.
So, ah, 17.4 UDSI
174 UDSI
and Exarch Every Forest featuring Melody Bird. So, yeah, that's where that clip comes from. If anyone wants to check it out, it's pretty good.
Pretty good hard side, yes.
Pretty good stuff. I might start using that for when I'm doing these readings because honestly it feels just very fitting. I'm gonna see if I can match it better to the audio, to anyone tuning in, which is nobody. We're going to see if we can finish chapter 2. I have had no goddamn sleep. So, we're gonna see how well this goes. I've got my honey tea. Still haven't updated the image. Let's see here. Present. Prey stood up once the chariot had landed. Prey stood up once the chariot had landed and stumbled out with a rattle of chains. Both of the chariots were parked in a deserted grass training yard, in what looked like the guard station of Van Hoover. Prey was a bit stunned as he craned his neck back to stare at the tall buildings of the city all around in the mid-morning light. Prey had stolen memories of what cities were like, but those were over 57 years old. He had never actually been in a city himself before, and was honestly shocked by just how much larger than life everything was. Prey was snapped from his silent awe as the sun was blocked out by Captain Valor. Although by the way his golden armor glittered, the captain might just have replaced it instead. Alright, I'm starting the day off with the deep voice. That's perfect, because in the morning, that is when the voice is the deepest. Also, I really hope that our audio quality is crisp. I managed to delete the entire scene while fiddling around with trying to get this new audio thing to work, which was brilliant.
Mission successfully failed.
Yeah, I mean, I did delete the thing that I wanted to delete, which was a headbanging raptor. Right, get inmate 452 into the building and secure the office room. Golbit, has the office... Fuck. Golbit, has the office
I don't think our office has done that.
I would like you to play that song again. Which one? The one that goes...
The love song.
That's a really weird love song, but I mean,
That would always be. Looks
Nature
at
has
the
done
list of
weird
songs.
oh no.
Which one?
Golbit, has the office been prepared to my specifications? Captain Valor barked. Captain Valor barked at one of the unicorns. Yes, sir. The windows and doors are barred and reinforced. Are barred and reinforced with all the barriers and enchantments that you requested in place. Only those with a key are getting in or out. Golbit answered with a salute. Well done. Get the prisoner inside before any ponies cease. Remember, 2 guards in the room at all times. Right, let's move. Valor barked. I feel like I'm not getting in as deep as I did before. Well. Prey found himself being led, or almost dragged if you were as small as he was, and also hindered by chains, in through the guard station's rather plain lobby, and down the deserted corridor. Strange. There are definitely other regular guard ponies on duty. I saw their lockers in use behind the front desk, but I don't see or hear any of them, he thought. That led to one conclusion. The Captain Valor wanted as few ponies as possible to know of his existence here, and had purposefully ordered no one to be around this part of the building. Typical unicorn. Doesn't want to be seen dirtying his hooves, but is perfectly happy to take all the credit at the end. Prey thought with scorn. Golbit walked up to a door and placed his hoof against it, closing his eyes to concentrate. There was a shimmer of blue that rippled over the door like the surface of a pond, and then it opened. Obviously, those magical barriers to contain me that I heard about, and it also seems that said key to them isn't a physical one, he thought as one of the Pegasus guard pushed him inside of the Golbit. Prey found himself in a large office with a large wooden desk in the middle of it, piled high with papers and files. He glanced at the right hoof wall, which was covered with a floor-to-ceiling map of Vancouver, and then across at the other wall, which was backed up with filing cabinets.
Filing cabinets.
True. Which was backed up with filing cabinets. Behind the desk was a closed door, and he could only speculate as to what lay behind that. There was also a large window, which would have been a point of great interest to Prey, if it wasn't covered in enough bars to stop even a rabbit slipping through it. And the view beyond the panes showed nothing but the grey wall of another guard building anyways. Prey couldn't see any visible sign of the enchantments that Golbits had spoke of, but he knew they were there. Without any way to determine which enchantments they were either, he couldn't even begin to start trying to formulate a plan of escape. Just wonderful. Competent gods. There was a bang behind him as Captain Valor forcefully shut the door, and Prey saw that along with Valor, Golbit, Sunshine, and Bright, two other Pegasus Solar Guards had followed them in. Prey felt a flash of Prey felt a flash of nerves as Captain Valor stepped up and towered over him. He pushed the feeling down, determined not to let it show. I've experienced much worse than that. I've experienced much worse than whatever they have planned. They're nothing compared to the resistance, Prey told himself, meeting Valor's glare with his own. Right, let's get this investigation started, Valor said. Prey stared at the huge pile of papers that had been roughly dumped on the desk in front of him. What? He thought. It was currently sitting behind the desk, with the chain from his back leg trailing over the desk and locking into steel bracket in the floor. The cement around the ends of the bracelet still looked wet. Prey looked up at Captain Valor, who stood on the other side of the desk with a raised eyebrow. What do you expect me to do with this? He asked in confusion. To get to work, Valor asked bluntly. Yes. Hello, I am Visi. Yes, I am person. Nah. You have lost your right to sentience.
Rights given to you by a loss of sentience.
Valor answered bluntly. Doing what? Doing what? He asked. Well snorted and narrowed his eyes. Don't play dumb. I told you why I brought you here. Stop stalling and start work on solving this crime, 452. He growled. Prey awkwardly shuffled the top page of the pile with his shackled front hooves onto an uncluttered bit of the desk, so he could get a better look at it. He bent over it while at the same time both trying to keep an eye on the captain and not fall out of the precarious stack of cushions they'd piled on the chair so he'd be high enough to even look over the edge of the desk. He read the first line. Incident report 322B. Sergeant Doorlock, 1154. Reason unspecified. Unspecified report of breaking and entering. Location West Nook Street. Time 08:54. Date. Prey broke off and looked up at Captain Valor. An incident report? He asked incredulously. He looked over the desk piled high with papers, scrolls, and files. Wait, is that what all this is? Reports? Paperwork? Paperwork? He asked. Behind him were the Solar Guard. Stood at attention against the office wall. He heard Sunshine stifle a chuckle, turning it into an awkward cough. Captain Valor's expression didn't change in the slightest. Yes, everything you need is in front of you. All the reports, maps, times, and dates. Your job is to find the criminal and then we'll bring him in. Prey gestured at the desk piled high with papers. I thought you wanted me to help you with some mind magic victims. Or something. I thought you wanted me to help with some mind magic victims or something that you'd found. Not organize, run, and solve the whole mess for you. I'm not a guard. I don't even know what half of this stuff is. I thought you were the Solar Guard, for goodness sake. Yet you want me to head up this whole investigation for you? Prey asked incredulously. Captain Valor pawed at the floorboards. Inmate 452. Do not try my patient. He's doctor now.
Didn't know you had one.
Do not try my patience. I've offered you this chance to serve your country and princess, to help even in the smallest part in atoning for your sins. You're here because your experience in mind and memory crimes. Captain Valor's face was twisted in disgust. But if you... no, that's him. But if you think the fact that just because you're still a lamb means I'm going to cut you any slack, you'd best think again, and soon. Mind leashes are never young and innocent, so stop stalling and get to work. Valor roared. Prey stared at the captain, open-mouthed. The atypical part of his mind, the analytical part of his mind, shocked into inaction.
What? I don't even... Is he insane? Nothing he says is logical in any way whatsoever. Did he really just pull a random criminal from the highest security prison in Equestria on the sole basis that some incomplete report mentioned something about mind magic? And then he expects this criminal to somehow solve a crime with the sole motivation being to serve the princess and country which imprisoned him in the first place, and which he also consistently considered and which he also coincidentally hates. Despite the excellent opportunities this gives me, I can't be the only one who sees the insanity of this, he thought. Prey looked at the other guards in the room, trying to see anything that hinted at a hidden agenda or concern for their captain's mental condition. All of them were matching expressions of professional confidence. Evidently, they saw nothing at all out of the ordinary with this course of action. Apparently, Manus is catching.
And also their main cause of employment is standing in corners and looking the same.
Hey, there's 3 races.
What do you say?
Hey, there's 3 races and 2 colorations?
Really, mate?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a lot.
I've actually seen the approach taken that armor enchants them to make them look even more the same.
Yeah, which is a fun idea, but oh well.
Apparently Manus is catching, Prey thought. He stifled a giggle. I'd know that better than anyone. All right, he said out loud. But I'm going to need some things. Nothing big or illegal.
He hastened to add when it looked like Captain Valor was just moments from... I think that's supposed to be away. Valor was just moments away from ripping the table right out of the floor and using it to beat him to death with. Name them and make it quick. The more time we waste, the longer this criminal has to escape. Valor growled through clenched teeth. Okay, I want to try that. Name them and make it quick. The more time we waste, the longer this criminal has to escape. Prey took a deep breath. Now it was time to find out just how much the report the captain had read on him actually said.
I need someone who can give me a rundown of what exactly is going on. Preferably someone who knows about this crime and all the evidence. I need free access to any maps or sensitive evidence that I might request, and
He hastily He hesitated despite himself. Then pressed ahead. I need my hooves free. The captain didn't even blink. Yes, yes, and no. Now, if that's all. Oh, come on! How do you expect me to read and write wearing these? Prey asked, holding up the manacled hooves, trying to play innocent. See? I said no. Criminals wear chains as a punishment and a reminder that of their shame. Let this be a lesson to you.
Also, occasionally to seal the ability to kill people with a touch.
Yeah, like.
But you know.
Yeah, like. I feel
apparently
like
you didn't read that part of the section. You know, the part that is highlighted important. If you do not read this, you are mad.
Madness is catching.
Yeah, and I don't trust the lamb's fashion ideas.
Fuck off.
No.
Fuck up.
No.
Bitch. And the captain said angrily, turning to leave. Captain, I think maybe we should reconsider. Sunshine said unexpectedly. Captain Valor frowned at Sunshine, but without the anger that he displayed when Prey had spoken. Sunshine, I assume you have a reason for speaking out, he asked. Yes, sir. I think that there is very little harm that could be done by freeing the prisoner's hooves. With all the magical suppression enchantments and us here to guard them, and us here on guard here. Oh dear, and us on guard here. I think I'm gonna try that too. With all the magical suppression enchantments and us here on guard 24/7, there is no chance of escape. For the good of the investigation, I think we should at least consider it, sir. Sunshine stated, with then added a light shrug. What's she realistically going to do, sir? Prey was confused. She really? He didn't get to think any further on it, as Valor abruptly nodded. I can see your point, Sunshine. Practicality over punishment in this case. We can free inmate 452. Okay, 452 hooves. I'm just gonna make that 452s with a little s. We can free inmate 452's hooves. Prey noticed that the captain didn't even go as far as to grace him with an incorrect gender like Sunshine had done. Just referred to him as if he were an it. Valor nodded at Golden Bit and Sunshine. See to it, but keep the manacles to hoof. After that you're on first guard rotation. In addition, if you want to. In addition, I want you to. He pointed an armor hoof at the two Pegasi. Outside the door. Make sure no pony tries to wander in. If any pony asks, there's a sensitive investigation of national importance going on in there that cannot be disturbed. 12-hour shifts for all. Anything suspicious, act on it immediately. I have to go and deal with the city guard now. Only report in if there's any new developments. I will be back tomorrow at 800. Understood? Yes, sir. Oh, I'm just gonna do 5 different yes, sirs, and whoever is crazy enough, feel free to edit them all together. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully, those would add together fairly well. They should be about the same one. Good. Right with me, Velos said and marched out the door, closely followed by the unicorn. By the unicorn Bright. Another shimmer of blue magic rippled over the door and across the walls as it shut. I like that depiction of magic. Well done.
Poison, not immune.
Huh?
Realizing Slayer Monster is not immune to poison.
Oh no. Oh, Slayer Monster.
Yes.
I heard Slayer Monster and my brain just went,
Oh no, I'm not gonna try to fight them. No.
Yeah, I think that would not go well.
Well, it would go well, just not for me.
Well said. Prey blinked at that. He didn't recognize that magic second. I'm just gonna add a thing. Prey blinked at that. He didn't recognize the magic the second time around either. Just wonderful. An enchantment I've never heard of, keeping me trapped here. Prey thought glumly. He glanced at Goldenbit and Sunshine. And them? He raised his front hooves with a clink of chains. And these. But not for much longer.
Well, who's gonna let me out of these?
He asked with a bright smile. That came out perfect. That line came out perfect.
Music with the Helm of Darkness.
Sunshine glanced at Goldbit. You're better at log magic. Goldbit nodded and stepped forward, grasping Prey's forelegs in his magic and turning them this way and that as he looked the suppression shackles over. These aren't standard nullification. And binding crystal. These aren't standard nullification and binding crystal locks. I wonder why that is. Goldenbit mused as he shot a look at Prey. Care to explain? This is competence. They are trying to play the mind game back. I like that. Prey faked surprise, though in reality he could hardly believe his luck that Goldenbit hadn't recognized the ceiling enchantments for what they actually were.
I don't know. They just put them on me. The moment I was thrown in Deverton. The moment I was thrown in Deverton. The moment I was thrown in Dreventon.
That's better.
Almost. I'm gonna get this right.
Breaking news. Elf messes up. Elf obtains records for most mess-ups in a row.
Oh, that's
Still
a tin.
going.
That
Send help.
That's a mess tin.
I don't know. They just put them on me the moment. They just put them on me the moment I was thrown in Dreverton. The moment I was thrown in Dreverton. The moment I was thrown in Dreverton. I assumed it was just a standard procedure for all inmates.
Goldenbit narrowed his eyes as Prey. I'm not buying it. Sunshine, stand ready. When I crack these open, I want you... When I crack these open, I want you There's a and messed in it. Plunked in there. When I crack these open, I want you charged to stun him if he tries anything while I examine his magic. Golbit instructed without taking his eyes off Prey. I've got him covered, Sunshine said, lowering his horn and pointing it at Prey's head. Although it didn't start to glow as a normal unicorn's horn would when holding a spell. Is it not taking this seriously? Prey wondered, trying to look as small and innocent as possible. I'm just gonna do that voice bit again, but in a different way, just to give a little bit of fun.
Is he not taking this seriously?
Sort of sliding that in there. Sliding the mixing as he's trying. The fact that Golbin moved onto unlocking the shackles without pause gave rise to a nasty revelation on Prey's part.
Golbit wouldn't proceed without his fellow guard being on the ready, which means that Sunshine is either capable of quick casting or can hold a shard spell without his horn glowing.
Both these skills were very useful to any unicorn soldier, as it allowed them the element of surprise.
The element of surprise!
The element of surprise with a Glock.
And for their neutral passive, they wield a gun.
Correction. A lot of guns. Levitation. You're not limited to what you can hold with your hands.
Just that image of Celestia with all of the guns. And just
the chainsaw.
listing what all of my sniper rifle says. Get wrecked, shrub.
I think it was only... I've got 99 problems.
Bang, 98.
And then there's a chainsaw with text written on it that says, "Who wants the bigger half?"
Yes. Is this content for children? No.
Not at all. This is the show. It is very much designed for children.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what the fan base has done with it,
And
there's a reason the site this story's on has a mature filter.
Which I think is automatically off for me, probably. I don't know. Probably realized I'm a grown man. Did it just like scan his face scans the moment you made the account? You see his beard. Adult. See, this is why there's an issue. But I won't go into that. That's a rabbit hole. I'm not gonna go. But both possibilities were only available to a very powerful or proficient spellcaster. Once again, Prey was forced to reevaluate. Prey was forced to reevaluate his guard's strength, and it wasn't a pleasant conclusion that he came to. Olumdeed. Okay.
I am Olumdeed,
he thought. The Sebrican curse jumping naturally to mind. The Sebrican curse jumping naturally to mind. Yeah.
As far as I can tell, it's based in Africa. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just Africa.
Yeah, creativity is dead.
You know,
I don't know why we
if
expected
anyone
it.
complains that this sounds racist, I'm just gonna say that is how the original show made it. So,
Yeah.
you just do with that as you will. How the fuck do I make making an African accent is damn near impossible. I don't think I've ever tried it, but even within Africa, there's so many variations. Ulumdeed.
Alternatively, one could take the approach of, Sikora.
Yes.
If you want to take that,
Let's see if I can try to do her.
you were not rhyming, so you already fucked up.
Shut the fuck up, or I will put the duck up your ass. That doesn't rhyme either.
No, you
Shit.
kind of just became a bit Scottish during it, particularly with the up your ass part.
I'm going to shove a duck up your fucking ass.
Been there, done that.
What the fuck?
That's
Prey
what
once
the
again
police
was
are.
for.
I am Olumdeed. Olumdeed.
He thought of this. He thought the Sebrican curse jumping naturally to mind. Golbit finished manipulating the delicate magical lock holding the mufflers. That's an adorable word. Holding the mufflers and shackles to Prey's hooves, and with a clank they slipped off. Fresh air flowed welcoming over his hooves as he took a look at them for the first time in 57 years. He winced. His hooves were plain and worn, and the hooves felt. His hooves were pale and worn, and the hooves. I'm just gonna change that so it flows better. And they felt almost malleable from the long isolation encased in steel. The fur on his ankles were thinning and matted, but there was no pressure sores that would normally have formed after being locked in chains for any length of time. The magic on the shackles having taken care of that. Goldenbit's magical aura wrapped firmly around his cloven hooves and dragged them up to the light, making prey bite back a yelp of pain as his now unprotected tender hooves were squeezed. Golbit leaned in closer and squinted. Then his eyes narrowed. Sunshine tensed. "There's nothing there," Golbit said suspiciously. "Why isn't there? Surely they wouldn't have wasted time on magic inhibitors if there was nothing to suppress." Prey hid a smirk. Of course there wasn't anything there. At least not to the naked eye. The various runes carved into his hooves were exactly the same color and texture as the hooves, and the indents from painfully carving them had long since regrown. The runes were still there, though, laying dormant within the hoof. A simple thing, like lacking a physical form, wasn't enough to destroy them once formed. These were the old runic alphabet. They would exist for as long as he lived. "Stay on guard, Sunshine. I'm going to do a scan to be sure," Golbit said, his horn brightening and its ray of light from Golbit said, his horn brightening and a ray of light from it started to play over Prey's firmly gripped front hooves. There was a long, tense minute as Golbit completed his scan. Sunshine standing ready and Prey trying to hold his breath. "Still nothing. In fact, there's no magic at all.
Sheep.
Not even trace ambience music. I wish I had
No.
that.
That would also be. There's no magic under things that have been magically suppressed for decades.
Yeah, though this mention, not even trace ambient magic. I like that detail. I might need to pick up that idea. Ambient magic.
I have tried to talk to you about that sort of idea before.
Yeah, like,
But in my case, that's also.
but
You're
it's
expecting
yeah,
that
it's
sort
also
of thing
terminology.
under magically suppressed things.
Yeah.
You know the things where there shouldn't be magic under them? You're expecting the faint magic in the air to be there? Dude.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry that it's been hard to understand what you say, I guess. But hey, that's how descriptions tend to go, no matter which side you're on. Golbit said, he narrowed his eyes. "That's really unusual. Do sheep even have ambient magic?" Sunshine asked. "Yes, every pony has magic.
Stupid.
Yes, every pony has ambient magic. Even earth ponies.
I'm a-
Earth ponies.
I'm a fucking sheep!
Okay, I'm just gonna say sorry, Prey, but sorry, Lance-Prey, but that's a slight error. Good bit. I think you mean Golbit there. Golbit broke off. Right. All ponies. Sheeps aren't ponies, he said with a dismissive snort. If Prey had been less in control of himself, he would have let out a breath of relief. But he didn't. They would surely notice such an obvious tell sign. It did, however, irk him how Golbit had said, sheep aren't ponies.
Are you quite finished?
Prey asked with a raised eyebrow. Golbet looked at Prey for a long moment, then released the magic that held up his sheep's hooves. For now, he answered. Prey did sigh this time, as he was finally able to lower his forelegs. The limbs felt off. They were too light and almost like they were floating now that they didn't have the constant weight of shackles pulling them down. I have some readjusting to do, Prey thought as he rubbed them together. He winced. Ow, that hurts. My hooves have gone soft and weak. I hope that fur grows back into... He was a yard from his inspection as Golbit abruptly reached over a leg and shoved him off the cushion stack. Prey was in no way prepared for it, and went over backwards with a high-pitched yelp. Surprised forelegs windmilling. Halfway down to the wooden floor in what would have ended up being a very painful landing on his face, Prey's momentum was arrested as Golbit's magic caught him. Prey gasped as he was levitated back onto the chair.
What the hell was that for?
He squeaked in anger, then scowled as both Solar Guards attempted to stifle laughs at his high-pitched voice. Hey, looks like I nailed that one. Sorry for everyone's eardrums. High-pitched voice. Hated up. Prey hated that. Hated that his voice did it. Prey hated that his voice did that whenever he got angry. High-pitched squeaking. No matter the fury behind it, no matter the fury behind, it just didn't get the point across. It could have been a commander. Coupled with his innocent face, large droopy ears, fluffy wool, and small size, Prey knew full well how ridiculous he looked when trying to be angry. They laughed too. They thought a runt lamb fighting a war was just a joke. Look who's the last sheep standing. These two unicorns will be just another tally mark, Prey thought in comfort to himself. Right, my apologies. I was just making sure. Golbit said, without a trace of remorse.
Sure of what?
Prey squeaked, still struggling to regain his composure. Apparently you're mind leech. So we were checking so that if removing those shackles unsealed you. Golbit's face creased with disgust. Mind reading capabilities.
And I think that's unsealed instead of unsealed you.
Did I say you?
Yeah.
Good.
At least
Okay.
what I heard.
I'm gonna do it again just to be sure. And also, that is a thing that is supposed to flow together, so that might... Apparently you're a mind leech. So we were checking to see if removing those shackles unseals your mind reading ability.
Capability.
When you do the line correctly, but then you fuck up on one word. Apparently you're a mind leech. So we were checking to see if removing those shackles unsealed your mind reading capabilities. If it had, then you would have known I was going to push you off the chair and reacted.
Or I could have read your thoughts and known that it was a test and then just faked being surprised.
Prey retorted. Nah, even if that's the case, I doubt your little panic could have been that. Sunshine smirked. Nah.
It's supposed to flow, so.
Yeah, and it's also Sunshine and not Golbet. Nah, even if that was the case, I doubt your little panic could have been that hilariously convincing. Prey decided a change of tact was in order. These two solar guards were quickly starting to dismiss him as nothing more than a lamb, the lamb he looked like. Now that Prey had gotten his annoyance under control and was thinking clearly, he could see both positives and negatives to this. On one hoof, it could lead them to underestimating him. Although the fact that both of them were solar guards and that they'd fetched him from Dreverton made that seem unlikely. They were trained against carelessness, and to not let their guard down around former inmates of Dreverton.
That's one training section specifically to not let your guard down against former inmates of a high security prison from which people are usually not released.
It's the thing that most people sleep through because they think it will never show up.
It's that extra class you have to take to get to this career.
It's like if you want to get it, fine.
If you want to get into Solar Guard, Royal Guard, it's a course no one really wants to bother with, but it's a required course, so you take it.
And for some reason, it's easier than the class about Tartarus, because the Tartarus one is
they have others to deal with that.
They just blast Doom soundtrack at max volume throughout the whole class, and then by the end of it, they just say, "Everyone who's still here, who haven't fallen over or collapsed in pain, you passed."
And you now have to bring the people who did collapse to the medical wing. I'm not responsible for that, so peace out.
Peace out, motherfucker. They were trained against carelessness, and to let their guard down around a former inmate of Dreverton would be a lax in the extreme. Plus, while he was wearing the rest of the crystal enchanted chains, escape was still just a dim possibility. On the other, he was being forced to solve this crime for them without any choice in the matter. And if they didn't take his suggestions seriously, suggestions which he would make sure benefited him in some way, then he would lose his only chance of tricking his way out of there. Prey decided that a mix of both aspects was the way to proceed. He crossed his forelegs over his fluffy wool and pouted at them.
That was unnecessary. I don't think guards, especially solar guards, resorted to such petty tricks for amusement. Evidently, I was mistaken. I was mistaken in thinking you were Celestia's best,
he said with a sniff.
Evidently, I was mistaken in thinking you were Celestia's best,
he said with a sniff. His response carefully calculated in both appearing childishly annoyed, but still intellectually competent enough to offer a barbered retort. Both solar guards' grins faded. I think you mean Princess Celestia, Sunshine emphasized. Yeah, because that's much better than Queen. This is why I'm gonna go for Queen as the title of the Conarings. Because it's just silly. But I do appreciate this attention to detail.
The reason she wasn't called Queen in the show.
Yeah.
Because they thought in a lot of kid media, kings and queens are viewed as evil. And then they proceeded to reinforce that later on with characters they chose to give such titles.
I mean, I guess the king often has a chance to, they are less likely to be evil than Queen.
They're less likely to have a role at all, so.
Because you have King Richard from Robin Hood. But there you also have Prince John. I guess Prince and Kings, they are far more likely to be a mixed bag. You never know what you'll get. Watch Rowan Edwards, whatever his name is, the guy who is Mr. Bean. His comedy on the Shakespearean kings and characters. For if you want to see just how varied that can be. It's hilarious.
It's Mr. Bean. Why would it not be hilarious?
Especially when he continuously knocks himself onto his knees. And you can hear the kneecaps hit the ground stage, and it's just, oh! I feel your pain. You're a lanky man.
Mr. Bean,
You're a lean one, Mr. Bean.
you need to put on some weight.
You need to get some fat. And then you go up on that stage and you eat the burger.
You eat the
Steak.
burger's face.
Okay, we're gonna stop this analogy before we get, like, I don't know, the House of Bean on us. Though, to be fair, if there's one way to go down in history, is those the ones who died because they got in crippling debt to the House of Bean. Prey sniffled again.
Whatever. But my point remains, that was unnecessary. My mind reading, if you want to call it something as unsophisticated as that, isn't sealed in my hooves. I don't even know why they bothered to put those hoof shackles on me in the first place. Now this...
Prey
this
tapped a hoof against the metal collar around his neck.
This is what keeps my mind reading capability sealed.
He casually lied to them.
This is what keeps my mind reading capability sealed.
Sunshine and Golbit both nodded, evidently completely buying the lie, as it appeared quite logical from their perspective. It wasn't the heavy color that kept him from sensing the thoughts of those around him. It was the much larger metal band around his middle that held the mind sealing enchantment. The mind sealing enchantments. Prey was certain of that. He'd had over 57 years to study it after all. Which was why he told them that it was the color. If for some reason the guard eventually decided to remove any more of his bindings, something he would anxiously working towards. He wanted them to remove the wrong piece, and then he'd regain his abilities to hear other people's thoughts. Everything goes so much easier when you can second guess your opponent's every move. Neither guard stopped to consider why they were getting freely volunteered information directly from their prisoner. They both just seemed to buy it. Arrogant, naive fools. Prey sneered internally. Right, that's enough stalling. Time to get to work, Golbit said, clapping his armored hoofs together sharply. Prey looked back over the piles and files on the desk, stacking higher than his head. The thought of having something to read and study after all these years, even if just badly written guard reports, made his hooves tremble. Learning and acquiring knowledge was perhaps the only thing he didn't regret about his time in... Learning and acquiring knowledge was perhaps the only thing he didn't regret about his time before Dreverton. It was that same hunger for learning that had kept him from giving up. That knowledge was also what stopped me from just dying off alone in the jungle and kept the war going, Prey thought. Whatever that was, whether that was a good or bad thing, was very much open for debate. And that's also what got me cursed and eventually caught, he mentally added with a sigh. And that's also what got me cursed and eventually caught, he mentally added with a sigh.
You really expect me to read all this? There must be thousands of these useless reports. What about eating and sleeping?
Prey asked. You'll get food and shelter for 452, and you will also do as you're told and work, Golbit told Prey in a level voice, his tone making clear that there was no room for any other possibility. You'll get food and shelter, 452, and you will also do as you're told and work.
Seriously though, there has got to be a more efficient approach to.
There must be something that lets me speak.
There must be some form of magic in this bullshit word that can make my voice speak and maybe have a deeper baritone voice that's more fitting my fucking age. Bullshit.
There is. We just don't have
I just
access to it.
realized Prey has the same thing as Modern AU Doll.
What the fuck? There's got to be a more efficient approach than.
There's got to be a more efficient approach than this.
There's got to be a more efficient approach than this. There's got to be a more efficient approach than this.
You've been offered this privilege. Captain Valor won't extend this. Captain Valor won't extend the chance a second time. So I suggest you cut out the whining and buckle down. Sunshine added in exactly the same tone and voice as Golbit. Prey had made a show of looking angry before letting his shoulders slump in defeat.
Fine,
He muttered.
but this would be much easier if I knew what this crime is, as I'm supposed to be solving it.
I have to counter-argument Prey there. Getting a unbiased opinion and looking at the data could be very useful. It may not be the most efficient way to find a culprit.
Here's the thing, it's also not something you would bring him into it for. For that, you would bring another guard who hadn't had anything to do with it.
True, proud.
So,
But it feels like there can be method to, as Prey probably would, but the madness. Completely true. Completely true. But for different reasons than the guard. Completely true. But for different reasons than the guards. Sunshine adjusted his gold chestplate absentmindedly. Well, the captain did say that some pony would explain the case to you, 452. I guess I might as well do it, he said with a shrug of his broad shoulders. Are these guards going to be around for a lot, by the way?
not in the long term of the story.
Okay.
So probably I think they're around through Arc 0, so...
Okay. Well, at least then I've gotten some good voices for them, because these are very close to just my own voice. Golbit sent over a questioning look. Shouldn't 452 just read the reports instead? Captain Valor told us to keep all interactions with the prisoner to a minimum. Well, some ponies gotta do it, and it's not like we've been all too focused on sticking to that last part. Sunshine pointed out with a grimace, making Golbit blink and then also grimace at himself in realization. Sunshine continued, "It's going to have to be one of us guards to explain it all anyways. Might as well do it now so she can get to work." Prey frowned. There it is again. She, not he.
I'm male, not female.
When you thought they had read the basics of your fucking file, but turns out they just looked at Mind Leech and then just grabbed...
I'm sorry, Prey, but you have a voice that's basically Deja Seymour Jenkins.
Who?
The orphan 6 or 8 year old that my D&D party picked up and decided to adopt.
Oh, those guys. Oh.
They adopted her. She is a sweetheart. She is a sorcerer. She is pretty potent. Dangerously potent.
It'll be fine.
Spray spoke up, giving Sunshine an offended look. Even if it was just acting like it to annoy him. Sunshine squinted at Prey. No, you're not, he said. No, you're not, he said bluntly. Prey rolled his eyes theatrically.
I think I would know best, don't you? Besides, what would I gain from lying? Especially about something as insignificant as gender?
He asked sweetly.
I think I would know best, don't you? Especially. But besides, what would I gain from lying? Especially about something as insignificant as gender?
Yes, Weasley. I don't know what you're trying to prove, but you're obviously not a cult. Where are your horns for one? Sunshine asked dismissively, swirling his tail. That's fair point. Fair point. Prey made his face go blank.
Ram, not colt. And I was born this way. Along with being a runt, apparently that means my horns will never grow in.
Prey told him. That was a lie. He'd sacrificed his horns when he was still half grown to a certain black magic ritual. Dark magic always has a price. So when he'd been forced to pay, he'd chosen the body parts most useless to him. He hadn't stopped to consider that this would make him look even more like a tiny Eve than he did already. Prey imagined that the resistance fighters would gleefully have taken every chance to taunt and humiliate him, even further than they had over his appearance, if any of them had been left by that point. Sunshine was giving him a disbelieving look, while Goldbit seemed like he was trying to put a stop to all this and go back to following Captain Valor's orders by standing stiffly at attention and ignoring everyone.
What? Think I'm lying?
Prey asked.
Bitch.
What? You think I'm lying, bitch? I'll let you know I'm from the Navy 6 SEALs, motherfucker!
This child is insulting me and I don't know how to deal with it.
Please find the copy paste, that Navy 6 SEAL copy paste and DM it to me.
Oh no. No.
No, but I'm not. No, but I'm not. Sunshine shrugged and shook his head. Just trying to figure you out, he finished dismissively.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Just trying to figure out.
How about you stop that and give me a rundown of why exactly I'm here, Warden? Why exactly I'm here, Warden?
Prey asked. You will refer to us by our names or proper titles alone, not Warden. Golbit drawled.
Weird.
There.
Traveled, I guess.
Well, without even turning to look from where he'd been. Without even turning to look from where he'd taken up a guard position.
Yes, definitely sensitive about using correct rank and titles. He must place a lot of his personal worth in being a Solar Guard, Prey noted.
Yeah, I see where you're thinking there. That means he may be insecure. Sunshine didn't pay Golbit any mind and moved to stand in front of the desk. Best get comfy in your wool then, sheep. is a bit of a long explanation. This all started weeks ago, he began.
Long explanation. Do you know how long I was stuck in in one fucking room?
And that, hey, we are complete.
With the second chapter.
Yeah, we're done with chapter. There's an author note, actually. Author note. I'm coming back to write this in this author note box about chapter 40. So first, hello to anyone reading. Second, at the time of writing this, somebody has been kind enough to submit a funny and great piece of fan art to go with the story. See here, if you want to laugh. Check it out. It was made by Great Space Beaver. So thank you to him.
Would it be possible to put that visible on the stream?
Yeah, that is possible. Also, this is the fan art. So,
This is an image of prey by the artist. So.
I'm just gonna open a new window, and we're gonna go.
That is a lot of fluff.
Yeah, but apparently that is.
It is also a quite accurate amount of spite.
I will fucking murder your fucking family, you bitch!
Hates fucking everything.
No. Hates every pony. We are though going to, I think, call it a day after this. After we have a quick look at what this is. What the fuck? Where am I? I want to go to Prey and the Lamb.
You were just at the beginning of chapter 3 by the looks of it there.
There we are. Forced Assistant. So I'm just gonna let me click that here just to make sure that I have everything ready. So we're going to add a window capture. Is that? And we make that this. And here. This. Oh, shut up, phone!
By the writer.
This is apparently drawn by the writer, according to Timus. And then we have this, which is the fan art that they themselves said, go check it out for fun.
I was not aware of that, considering, from the time when chapter 40 was released.
Oh, shit. How do I do this? Help. Yes, I want to delete that window capture. So, now is when I mess up all of my setup. Because, yes, that's what happened in these streams. So, we had no people tune in to this stream, but that's probably because it's bloody early.
For most people, it's fucking late.
And I am in serious need of a restroom. So.
And rest.
That too.
You will need it for parties.
So I'm just. Oh yeah. I should rest. I should rest. I should lay down and just shut my eyes because I've got a D&D session. But hey,
if with your party of raging lesbians.
And Archer might not make it today, so.
Good to know.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you to Lamb's Prey for making this story. I am procrastinating, probably to just torment myself at this point. I don't fucking know. Yeah, next time is on to chapter 3, which is gonna be shorter. We might do it in one stream. Why did I fucking say that? Buck!
Because you're a fool!
Buck you!
Of a tuck.